He stood in court and said the worst things about her. He called her unstable, broke, and dangerous. He said she was not fit to be a mother, and he did it in front of the judge, her son, and a room full of strangers. He wanted to break her in public. He wanted to win by crushing her. Her name is Eleanor, and this is her story. Please stay with me as I tell you what happened, and don't forget to support our channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing this video. It truly helps more people hear voices like hers. Elena didn't shout back. She didn't cry. She sat quietly while Ryan showed the court fake evidence. He had edited videos that made her look out of control, but he cut out the parts where he was pushing her to the edge. He showed fake text messages. He even brought in people who were told what to say, just to hurt her case. But Elena stayed calm. She had something Ryan never expected, the truth. When it was her turn, she stood up and walked to the judge. In her hands was a folder, nothing fancy, just a simple folder, filled with everything he never thought she had the courage to collect. Inside were videos he didn't know she had recorded, raw and unedited. In them, he was seen yelling at her, trapping her, and then turning on the camera only when she broke down. She had voice recordings of him saying he would ruin her. There were messages that proved he faked the ones he gave the court. There were bank transfers to witnesses, and even a letter from his girlfriend saying she lied because Ryan told her to. The judge looked through the folder slowly. The courtroom went silent. Ryan's smile faded. He looked nervous, then scared. Elena didn't need to scream. She let the truth do all the talking. And when the judge finally looked up, he didn't see a weak woman anymore. He saw a strong mother who refused to be destroyed by lies. Thank you for watching. If her story touched you, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps more people speak up. Elena met Ryan when she was just 24. He was charming, generous, and knew exactly what to say to make her feel special. In the beginning, everything felt like a dream. He brought her flowers, planned sweet surprises, and always made her laugh. He told her she was too good to be working so hard, and convinced her to quit her job so she could relax and focus on family. At the time, it felt like love. Not long after, their son Ben was born. For a little while, things were still okay, but slowly, Ryan began to change. He became distant. He stopped listening, stopped helping, and started making excuses to stay out late. Elena noticed the messages on his phone, the lies about where he was, and the coldness in his eyes. When she tried to talk to him, he twisted everything around. He told her she was imagining things, that she was too emotional, that she was going crazy. He started saying things like, "You're lucky I stay, and no one else would put up with you." At first, she doubted herself. Maybe she was being too sensitive. But then, things got worse. Ryan began recording their arguments, but only after he pushed her to the edge. He'd start small fights on purpose, knowing she'd react, then press record to catch her at her worst moments. He told people she was unstable, even though he was the one driving her there. Elena kept trying to fix things, for Ben's sake, but deep down, she knew something was very wrong. The love she once felt was gone, replaced by fear and confusion. When she finally found the strength to leave him, Ryan didn't beg her to stay. Instead, he looked her straight in the eye and said, "You'll lose everything. I'll make sure of it." That one sentence told her everything she needed to know. He hadn't just been a bad partner, he had been planning something cruel. He didn't just want her gone, he wanted her broken. But what he didn't know was that Elena had finally seen the truth. And this time, she wasn't going to stay silent. Her story was just beginning. Please like, share, and subscribe if her story touched you. Your support helps more voices be heard. In the months leading up to the trial, Ryan turned cold strategy into cruelty. He didn't yell or hit. He planned. He knew how to push Elena's buttons, how to make her feel like she was the one losing control. He would provoke her with quiet jabs, mocking her fears, bringing up painful memories, and questioning her every move. Then, when she finally reacted, when her voice cracked or her eyes welled up, he pressed record. But he never showed what came before. Only her breaking down, only the parts that made her look unstable. And he saved those clips like weapons, slowly building a file to destroy her in court. He didn't stop at home. Ryan made sure her life outside was also falling apart. He paid a neighbor to file repeated noise complaints against her, fake reports that made her look reckless. At her workplace, Someone sent anonymous complaints to HR. They said she was emotionally unstable and aggressive. She was written up twice before realizing it wasn't random. It was him. Eleanor began to feel like she was drowning. No matter what she did, something would go wrong. A misunderstanding at work, a strange look from the neighbor, a sudden argument that felt staged. Everything was off, and she started to feel watched, trapped. The only person she trusted was Rosa, her best friend since college. One night, Elena finally broke down and told her everything. Rosa didn't tell her to calm down or let the lawyers handle it. She looked her straight in the eye and said, "You need to start protecting yourself right now, on your terms." That moment changed everything. Eleanor bought a small camera and began wearing it at home. She recorded phone calls, saved voicemails, and backed up every text message. She started to build her own folder, not to fight him, but to stay sane. She needed to see the truth with her own eyes, to stop questioning her reality. Ryan thought he was ahead. He thought he was clever, setting up the perfect trap. But what he didn't know was that Elena had stopped playing his game, and while he was busy crafting lies, she was quietly collecting the truth. Elena didn't fight loud. She didn't scream or beg. She just got quiet and careful. After Rosa urged her to take control, Elena began her own quiet hunt for the truth. She bought a small body cam and wore it at home, hidden beneath her clothes. She recorded phone calls, saved every message, and created backups that no one could touch. Every day, she collected proof, not for revenge, but for survival. She caught Ryan slipping more than once. There were moments he thought she wasn't recording, times when he dropped his fake smile and showed who he really was. One night, during an argument, he laughed and said, "It's not like they'll ever believe you over me." Another time, in a call he didn't know she saved, he threatened her, "You think they'll give you custody? I'll bury you in court." On another day, he mentioned paying off someone to say the right things. Elena stayed calm through all of it, never reacting, just recording. But she didn't only gather evidence of his lies, she also began to capture her own truth. Bedtime stories with Ben, his laughter in the background, the way she talked to his teachers, her quiet therapy sessions. These recordings weren't just about defense. They were proof that she was still there, still standing, still being a good mother through it all. There were no lawyers whispering in her ear, no expensive team guiding her. It was just her, one day at a time, collecting the moments that mattered. No drama, no noise, just quiet truth, backed by dates, timestamps, and undeniable fact. She printed everything. Pages of transcripts, screenshots, video still. It took weeks. When the file was finally done, she handed it to her court-appointed lawyer. He looked through it and let out a dry laugh. "Judges don't care about all this personal stuff," he said. "It won't hold up." But Eleanor didn't flinch. She didn't argue. She just took a deep breath and thought to herself, "Maybe it won't hold up, but it's not you who's living this. It's me, and I have to try." What she didn't know was that file, small, quiet, and full of truth, would soon shake the courtroom. The courtroom was cold, heavy with silence before the storm. On trial day, Ryan walked in like he had already won. His suit was sharp, his smile confident. His lawyer strutted beside him, loud, clever, full of charm. Elena entered quietly, holding nothing but a folder in her hands. Her lawyer, a tired public defender, barely acknowledged her. As the hearing began, Ryan's lawyer took over the room. He spoke with energy, waving printed texts in the air and pointing fingers. One by one, they showed videos of Elena, angry, shouting, crying. The clips were short and messy, made to paint a picture of someone unstable. Witnesses came forward, all with the same rehearsed tone, all with stories that strangely aligned. Elena didn't argue. She didn't interrupt. She just sat still, her hands resting on that folder. Her heart was pounding, but she didn't show it. When the judge finally turned to her, asking if she had anything to present, she stood up slowly and handed over the folder. No speech, no drama, just the truth in a plain, manila cover. The judge opened it and began to read. At first, there was no reaction. Then came the first video, a full, uncut clip of one of the moments Ryan had shown earlier, except this one started 5 minutes before. It showed Ryan provoking her, insulting her quietly, pushing her to the edge. The screaming clip that Ryan had played earlier now had a different meaning. It wasn't rage. It was a woman pushed too far, finally breaking. More videos followed. Conversations where Ryan admitted to lying, threatening her, mocking her. Texts that revealed he had told others what to say in court. Bank transfers linked to witnesses. A letter from someone close to Ryan, confessing he had asked her to help ruin Eleanor. The judge leaned back, still watching the screen. For a long moment, he didn't speak. The courtroom fell silent. Ryan's smile was gone. His lawyer whispered something in his ear, but Ryan didn't respond. Eleanor stayed quiet. She didn't need to explain anything. Her truth was already in the judge's hands. And for the first time, everyone in that room saw her not as the woman Ryan described, but as the woman who never gave up. The courtroom, once buzzing with confidence from Ryan's side, now sat in uncomfortable silence. One by one, the raw videos played on the screen, each more damaging than the last. In the first clip, Ryan could be seen quietly provoking Elena, saying cruel things under his breath, pushing her button. Then, as she began to react emotionally, the video abruptly ended. The same footage Ryan had submitted earlier, but edited to show only her breaking point. Now the truth was exposed, and it looked nothing like the story Ryan had tried to sell. More clips followed. Ryan mocking her, Ryan laughing after their fights, Ryan saying to someone on the phone, "She'll snap eventually, I'll record it all." His voice was clear, his face cold. Then came the recording where he didn't know he was being taped. "I'll bury you in court. Nobody's going to believe you." That sentence echoed across the courtroom like a slap. Eleanor sat still, hands folded in her lap, her face calm. Her lawyer let the evidence speak. There was no need to defend her with words. Her truth was already on display, laid bare in full colour and sound. The contrast was sharp. Ryan, who had arrived so sure of himself, was now pale, whispering anxiously to his lawyer. He kept shifting in his seat, watching the judge's face for any sign of hope. But the judge remained still, his eyes locked on the evidence. Then came the paper trail, printed emails, screenshots, text messages. One document showed a bank transfer, money sent to a man who had just testified against Elena. Another showed a different payment to a neighbour who filed repeated noise complaints. The judge raised an eyebrow. Then, the most unexpected piece of evidence was read aloud, a handwritten letter from Ryan's own girlfriend. She had apologized to Elena and admitted she was told to lie in court. Her words were simple. "I did it because I loved him. I didn't realize how much I was helping him hurt someone else." The tension was thick now. No one spoke. Even Ryan's lawyer looked down. The judge took a breath, then stood. "Recess," he said, his voice steady but colder than before. "We will resume shortly." He walked out of the courtroom, holding Elena's folder under one arm. Ryan turned to his lawyer in panic. "What now?" "Fix this," he whispered. But his lawyer had no answer. Elena didn't say a word. She looked ahead, eyes calm. Her hands trembled slightly, but her heart felt lighter. For once, she knew. Everyone had seen the truth. When the judge returned to the courtroom, everything felt different. The warmth in his voice was gone. His expression was sharp, cold, and unreadable. Ryan sat up straighter, trying to put on his confident face again, but the damage had already been done. The judge carried Elena's folder with both hands and placed it gently on the bench before speaking. He began with Ryan's evidence, going through each piece one by one. "The videos are clearly edited," he said, his tone flat. "Important context is missing. Audio is cut mid-sentence. Witnesses gave statements that contradict physical evidence. And multiple complaints against the mother have links to individuals with direct financial ties to the father." The courtroom was silent. Every word the judge spoke felt like a stone falling. Ryan's lawyer looked nervous. Ryan kept whispering under his breath, fidgeting with his tie, sweating now. Then the judge turned his attention to Eleanor's file. He praised the organization, the clarity, and most of all, the authenticity. Her recordings were raw, uninterrupted, and consistent. The documentation was careful, thorough, and honest. And most importantly, her actions show concern for the child's safety and well-being. Ryan swallowed hard as the judge continued. "There is clear evidence of manipulation, witness bribery, and possible perjury." Gasps spread across the courtroom. Ryan's eyes widened. The final decision came in a single sentence. "Full custody is awarded to the mother, Elena, with all parental rights. The father is referred to the district attorney's office for further investigation into fraud, obstruction, and contempt of court." Ryan's mouth opened, but no sound came out. He looked stunned, as if the ground had disappeared beneath him, his carefully built story, his lies, his threats, gone in an instant. Elena stood up slowly. She didn't smile. She didn't cry. She just looked over to where her son Ben had been sitting quietly. The moment he saw her stand, he jumped up, ran to her, and wrapped his arms around her waist. She held him tightly, finally feeling the weight lift from her chest. No victory dance. No dramatic celebration. Just a mother and her son, safe, together, and free from the lies that once tried to break them. It was over. The truth had won. After the trial, the dust began to settle, but the aftershock was just beginning. Ryan thought he could walk away, maybe even charm his way into another job, another lie, but things didn't go as planned. A leaked copy of the trial transcript made its way into the hands of his company's HR department. By the end of the week, Ryan was called in, questioned, and fired. His image of control and confidence had completely shattered. The man who once boasted about burying Elena now found himself buried under the weight of his own lies. Meanwhile, Elena wasn't thinking about revenge. She was thinking about healing. But healing, she discovered, didn't mean staying silent. One night, sitting with Rosa at her kitchen table, she shared all the pain, the recordings, the doubts, and the moments when she almost gave up. Rosa gently encouraged her to share her story, anonymously, to help others. And Elena agreed. They carefully wrote a post, leaving out names but including details that mattered: the manipulation, the lies, the trial, and how she quietly built her case. She didn't write for attention. She wrote for the women who hadn't yet found their strength. Within hours of posting, the message spread. Comments flooded in, some from strangers, others from women who had once dated Ryan and had their own disturbing stories. Elena wasn't alone, and neither were they. Her inbox filled with thank you notes, confessions, and requests for advice. Some women shared how they had doubted themselves for years, how they had felt crazy, how no one had believed them, until now. One message stood out. A woman, still in the middle of her custody battle, wrote, "Because of you, I started recording too. I realized I wasn't losing my mind. He was twisting everything, just like yours did. Thank you for showing me I wasn't alone." That one line hit Elena hard. For the first time in a long time, she felt something deeper than anger or sadness. She felt purpose. Her story, once buried under fear, had become a light for others. And slowly, she began to understand. What was meant to destroy her had created something stronger. Not just freedom, not just truth, but a voice that could not be silenced anymore. Eleanor had become more than a survivor. She had become a signal to others. You can fight back, and you can win. Elena never planned to become a voice for others, but after the trial, the messages kept coming. Women from across the country reached out, some scared, some angry, many feeling alone. Elena knew that silence no longer served her, or anyone else going through what she had faced. So, with a shaky voice and a simple camera, she recorded her first YouTube video. She spoke plainly, without drama, and told the truth, not just about Ryan, but about the system, the fear, and the fight to protect her son. Her story connected instantly. Views climbed, comments poured in. Women started asking for help, how to record legally, how to organize evidence, how to stay strong when no one believed them. Elena couldn't answer everyone alone, so she turned to Rosa. Together, they started working on something bigger, a non-profit to support women facing custody manipulation. They called it Silent Strength. Its mission was simple: help women prepare legally, safely, and smartly. Elena didn't want anyone else walking into court as unprepared as she once had. With help from a few honest lawyers who believed in her cause, they built toolkits, easy-to-understand guides filled with real steps for gathering evidence, protecting your rights, and surviving custody trials. The non-profit gained traction quickly. Women shared the website in support groups, legal forums, and social media. Soon after, a local reporter interviewed Elena for a segment on court abuse and digital evidence. She told her story again, this time for the evening news. She thought maybe a few people would watch, but the clip went viral. National outlets picked it up. More lawyers, survivors, and even a few judges quietly reached out, thanking her for shedding light on what often stays hidden. Elena's quiet strength became a symbol. She was no longer just the woman who survived Ryan. She was the woman who turned her pain into protection for others. She didn't want fame. She wanted change, and slowly she was becoming part of it. One video, one message, one toolkit at a time. Elena was rising, not above others, but alongside them, and every story shared, every case won, became proof that her fight had meant something. Years later, Elena saw Ryan at the grocery store. He looked older, worn down, tired, and bitter. He tried to start a conversation, but Elena just smiled politely and kept walking. There was no anger, no fear, only calm. Ben, now a confident teenager, walked beside her and said, "He's just a stranger now, right?" Elena nodded. Yes, he's just a stranger. She thought about the long, painful journey she had been through. The woman Ryan tried to break was gone. That person was replaced by someone stronger, someone who had faced lies, manipulation, and fear, and still stood tall. That strength didn't come from Ryan or the trial. It came from within her. Every step, every battle, every quiet moment she recorded had built her into the mother and woman she was today. Ryan's attempts to destroy her only made her rise. And now, when she looks back, she doesn't see pain or defeat. She sees power and survival. That woman he tried to break, she doesn't exist anymore. She's been replaced by someone unshakable, ready to face anything life brings. Do you think Elena made the right choice by fighting for her son and standing up to Ryan? Or would you have taken a different path? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm really curious to hear your opinion. And if you want more stories like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out.